Merry Christmas, my friends. Oh, it is such a joy and a honor to come to you today on Christmas. So, I want to talk a little bit about um, finishing well, right? Finishing the year well. I've talked a little bit about it throughout this month of December, but I want you to know that if you find yourself only reviewing all the things that didn't go well instead of celebrating what did, right? That creates pressure for you. So I want you to not feel that pressure, but instead, I want you to really finish this year with your spirit in a place of reflection instead of hustle. So, if you're feeling pressure, if you're feeling like you got to hustle, this episode will bring you home. Join me. Hello, beautiful one. Thanks for tuning in and welcome to Business by Design podcast. Your next level starts here. This is the 10-minute reset for women entrepreneurs who know there's another level waiting for them. Hi, I'm Valerie Priester, your host and your mindset and strategy catalyst. Each week, you'll get two essentials: a mindset reset to quiet the self doubt that keeps you circling the same plateau, and a strategic architect move, a practical step you can plug into your business before the episode even ends. Listen, this is what I promise: no fluff, just focused clarity so you can trade busy work for purposeful and powerful momentum. Are you ready? Let's design your victory starting now. I really love the month of December for several reasons. Well, there's Christmas. The other reason is this is when I take a quiet moment to just sit with myself and to breathe in the weight of the year, right? I focus on the victories first because oftentimes as entrepreneurs, we spend 98% of our time focused on what's not going well, right? So, what I teach my clients and what I do myself is to focus more on first the things that are going well, right? The victories, the accomplishments. And then I focus on the lessons. Like, what did I learn from those times when things didn't go as planned or didn't go as well as I had planned for them to go? What were the lessons that I took away from that? The other thing that I focus on are the challenges because it's inevitable. We're going to have challenges as entrepreneurs, right? So throughout the year, the things that challenge me, of course, are also the things that caused growth, right? So you want to focus in on what were those challenges. And then the other thing I look at is the growth, right? Where did I grow? In what areas did I grow in this business? And not just from a business perspective, but also how did I grow personally, right? How do I evolve even more into the person that I am today? Because I'm certainly a different person today than I was January 1st of this year, right? And so all of those areas are areas that I love to sit and reflect on. And as as this year has taught me, I've had to look at some things on a deeper level, right? You've heard me mention a couple of times about my husband' medical emergency that happened in November. That caused me to look at things a little bit different, and it caused things to feel different for me this year, right? I realized something deeply freeing in all of the things that have transpired this year for me, right? I realized that finishing strong does not mean finishing fast. I talked about pace in one of the other episodes this month as well. It doesn't mean finishing fast, right? Um, and it definitely does not mean finishing perfect. As a recovering perfectionist, let me just speak on that, right? Nothing will ever be perfect. But through every experience that we encounter as we are growing and operating our businesses and as we are living life, we will always learn lessons, right? One of the things that I always say to my clients is take the lesson and leave the blame. Because oftentimes we find ourselves blaming ourselves for things that didn't go so well, right? And pointing the finger at ourselves and putting ourselves at fault and all of that. Well, ultimately, yeah, it is our responsibility, but there's always a lesson in there, right? So take the lesson, leave the blame. Finishing strong means, to me, finishing aligned. The strategies that we do, the decisions that we make, the actions that we take, for me, they must be aligned. When they're aligned, it feels better. My energy is better, right? Oftentimes, my results are better because I'm taking aligned action, right? And so, finishing strong means finishing aligned, right? It means closing the year with honesty. When we take that reflective look at what we have done over the year, we must be honest with ourselves, both with the celebrations that we have as well as the times when we may not have performed as well as we knew we could, right? So we must close the year with honesty. It means acknowledging the places where we actually rose to the occasion. We elevated a little bit higher. It means forgiving the places that we resisted, right? Where we allowed fear to come in and prevent us from stepping into the next level, right? Or going the extra mile or playing full out, right? It also means blessing the moments that changed us. Now that's really important, especially for me this year. And again, what I had to endure with the medical emergency in my family, right? And that medical emergency that I experienced taught me that the real strength of a woman entrepreneur is not in how hard she pushes. It's not in how hard we work. It's not in the hustle. It's in how deeply we listen, right? How gracefully we adapt to the changes that happen in our lives. I mean, at any moment life can cause a change. So how well do we adapt? How gracefully do we adapt to those changes? Here's another one. How bravely do we prioritize what truly matters? Sometimes we are afraid to prioritize the things that matter most. Sometimes we are so busy trying to please everyone else and make sure that everyone else is happy, we are afraid to say what we really need and want, what really matters to us, right? So this is what finishing well looks like. When we think about, closing out this year, this is the last month, we're in the last couple of weeks. When we think about closing out this year, this is what finishing well really looks like. You honor your season, whatever that season that you're in, right? It could be the season of planting. It could be the season of harvest. It could be the season of healing, but honor where you are. You release the pressure to be somewhere other than where you are and know that you are right where you belong. You're right where you're supposed to be, right? The other thing is you choose what matters most for you. What matters most for you, not everyone else, right? And then you enter into the new year with more clarity and a whole lot less chaos, right? December is not the time to carry guilt. It's the time to carry wisdom. There is nothing that you need so desperately to finish this year that cannot be continued with grace next year, right? Don't put that pressure on yourself. There is no timeline that defines your worth. There's no goal that determines your identity. I want you to understand and know that you made it this far. You are standing. You grew. I know you did in so many areas. You learned, and you learned from the lessons. More importantly, you loved, right? You loved your clients. You loved your family. You loved your friends. And I hope you loved yourself. And then you survived moments. I know I did. You survived moments that could have broken you. I certainly did. This, my friend, is finishing strong. Acknowledging those things that you made it through. acknowledging the things that made you stronger. That is what finishing the year should be about. No regrets. No, I wish I should have, or I could have, or I didn't do. None of that. But acknowledging all the wonderful things that you encountered, that you experienced, that brought you to the human that you are today. Remember, designing your victory is a choice. Today, I want you to start with closing this year in alignment, not pressure. We'll see you next year. Well, my amazing ones, that's your focus shift for today. If it sparked a new thought, follow the show and share it with a friend who's also ready for clarity. For those of you that have been following me, I want you to know I truly appreciate you. For those that are new to me, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you continue to follow. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share. Sharing is caring. Want to keep the momentum going? Check the show notes for my newest free resource. You can be sure it's most timely to help you take your next confident step. I'll meet you next Thursday for another dose of mindset and strategy tailored for the business and life you truly want. Remember, designing your victory is a choice. Start with one clear, purposeful action today.